Good afternoon, my name is Liv Harper.
And I'm Noelle Pembos.
Today we are talking about deaf culture. The first thing we want to discuss is what many people think of when they hear the word deaf. Generally, these are not people who are very familiar with the deaf community or know a lot about deaf culture. Many associate deafness with hearing aids or cochlear implants, interpreters, teaching babies sign language, or a song in ASL that they learned when they were a kid. Maybe even a famous deaf person like Marley Matlin or Niall DeMarco. All of those examples may be related to deaf culture, but there is so much more that people are unaware of.
Deaf culture is what defines the deaf community. Many deaf people share different experiences, such as ways of growing up, whether they know the language, and even being brought up into the deaf world. Their backgrounds are exactly what defines them all. They come together to embrace something that makes them a community, a way of life that many others are not able to relate to. They love being deaf and being able to share that within their culture and community. To them, it is not a disadvantage, but rather it empowers them to do amazing things. ASL plays a major role in the community of the deaf world, bringing them together. It also helps bridge the gap between the deaf and hearing communities. A great amount of hearing culture only looks at the surface of what it means to be deaf, but is misconstrued to think that there is only one way to be deaf.
For example, there is Deaf Plus, which means that there is a person with one or more disabilities on top of being deaf. Many people with disorders may have a harder time finding their identity because they are not looked at as normal. Their disorder gives them culture, whether that means to be deaf-blind or any other kind of disorder. It allows them to further identify and be connected with their culture and with the community that surrounds them. One challenge that deaf-blind people face is isolation. For instance, hearing people use all 5 senses to connect themselves to the outside world, but for those individuals who are minimized to only a select few must connect with the world through their remaining senses. It also allows them to deeper develop their social skills in a way that hearing people are not able to relate to. Another challenge when an individual has multiple disorders is that their health may be affected, which can cause a lot of mental and or physical challenges relating to their health issues.
The third topic that we want to deeper discuss is the different experiences and or effects it can have on a deaf child growing up with hearing parents versus deaf parents. A deaf child in a hearing family will first typically learn English rather than their own language, American Sign Language. Deaf children normally go to speech therapy to learn how to speak orally. All hearing individuals are capable of learning sign language to better understand and communicate with a deaf family member, but unfortunately, most do not. Usually, parents will only learn ASL if they have a friend or advocate for the child that guides them. A study that Gallaudet University did in 2013 to 2014 stated that only 22.9% of families with deaf children regularly sign at home, meaning that the remaining 77.1% of deaf children with hearing parents are not able to communicate with their families in their own home. Deaf children in hearing families will eventually learn sign language if they are put into a deaf institution or by socializing with other deaf people. A commonality with deaf children and hearing parents is that doctors will label the children as having a disability, which is scary to a parent. The doctor will strongly suggest hearing aids or cochlear implants to a child to accommodate the hearing culture instead of encouraging the parents to learn how to better communicate with their child in the deaf culture.
On the opposing side, deaf parents can serve as an excellent language model for their deaf child since they are native sign language users. This exposure will help children develop expressive as well as receptive language skills. Language is the heartbeat of any culture, so by preserving and promoting ASL, it allows the deaf community identity to stay intact. The child will have a stronger connection to the deaf culture, values, community, and identity by being raised in a deaf household. It will positively influence the attitudes towards learning and further building their education. These examples are a few of many ways that deaf individuals differ. Just like any other culture, every individual is different in their own unique stories and background. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching.
Bye.